Hey everyone, I'm Brian.
I'm Tyler.
And we're Gardener in Love. What's up guys? Welcome to today's video. We are currently standing in front of our shed bed, and if you watched our last video, you heard that we had some improvements that we wanted to make to this space because we aren't quite happy with the layering, and we just want to put some more new, interesting, and unique plants in. And so that is what we are going to tackle today. So I think we'll show you the layering, and then we'll probably show you the plants that we're going to plant, and then we'll get started. All right, this is our shed bed, and we love this space so much. We had the shed put in a few years back, and we've just been building out the space ever since. You guys should be familiar with it if you've seen any of our garden tours, but in our last video, we did tell you that we weren't happy with the layering here, and you can see why. There's just a lot of holes, and we do have our beautiful annuals here in the front, sort of looping, which we had always planned for. We recently put in some echinacea there, which we really, really love, along with some different veronica. And we just, I think, are working through the space and sort of learning our zone and how big things grow. We also told you that this Baptisia got really, really big this year and that we had planned on moving it. And so I actually think that's what we're going to do today. It is really hot, but we are going to stay on top of watering, and we're just going to make sure these things survive. You can see we planted some milkweed. We transplanted some milkweed right there, and it looks a little worse for wear, but it's perking up, and that's to be expected. So today we are planning to move the Baptisia into the space where we have these oak leaf hydrangeas. They're going to go to a much cooler and shadier space because they do not like that much heat and direct sun, and that's where they're at now. And then we are going to be moving Baptisia into those spaces because these Baptisia got about 3 feet wide this year, and we have learned from some garden friends that they will only get bigger, so they're probably going to touch the ground eventually. This year they were sort of shaped like umbrellas, and so next year we've heard that they'll probably touch the ground and just be big balls. And so we think that would be beautiful on either side of the shed here, sort of flanking that space. And then that'll also allow us this area right here to plant in, which is what we're going to do today. So let's tell you about the plants.
All right, so today we are going to be planting 3 beautiful perennials. 2 of these are new to us, but this one that I'm holding here we have planted before in our garden. This is Perfect Profusion Salvia. You are probably familiar with this if you are a fan of Proven Winners like us. There are a few different colors in the Profusion series. This one is kind of like an icy crystal blue. It's really, really pretty, and it has a perfectly mounded habit. We love salvias because you do get rebloom out of them, so they are one of the first perennials to bloom, at least for us down here in the south. And then once the bloom is done, you can shear it back and you'll get another flush, and it just kind of keeps on going all summer as long as you come in and cut off the spent blooms. So I have 5 of these that are going to be going in the shed behind us, and this gets about 16 to 20 inches tall with the bloom stalks. It has a really nice mounded habit, and this needs to go in full sun. When we first planted these, they were in a little bit of shade, and then Brian did some pruning on one of our trees, so we got them some more sun, so they're a little bit happier now. But in the shed bed, they are going to be in full sun all day, so I'm very excited to see how they perform compared to the other spot in our garden. As for salvias, this is one of my favorite colors just because it is so icy, and because we are in the hot south, any kind of icy vibe that I can get from a plant, I'm here for it. So we've got 5 of these. We also have a beautiful Russian sage. This is called Sage Advice. So you may be familiar with the denim and lace variety from Proven Winners. And this one is a little bit different. It is a little bit taller. It has darker purple calyxes. I wish this was in bloom so you could see how dark they are, but we'll put some pictures on the screen. So darker purple calyxes, and the leaves are a little bit broader than the denim and lace series. So I think it's just going to make for a more intense pop of purple in the bed, whereas the denim and lace is a little bit more soft. The nice thing about this is that it does bloom pretty much through fall once it starts. And just like denim and lace, this is also an early bloomer. So I think on the tag it said in Michigan it starts in July, and then it just keeps going through the fall. So for us it will probably start maybe late June. So I also have 5 of these that we're going to be putting in the ground, and this is going to make for a really, really big show of Russian sage. Another great thing about sage is that it is very drought tolerant. You don't have to water it very much, and you definitely don't want to fertilize it. If it gets too much water or too much fertilizer, it'll just flop over on you. So it's a very easy plant. You just kind of set it and forget it, and it just keeps on going for you. The spring, you'll cut it back down to maybe 2 to 3 inches, and then it will flush out its new growth for you. So that is the Russian sage. So the last plant I have is what we call a non-branded plant. So this is an introduction from Walter's Gardens. This is called Nightlight Stonecrop, or Sedum, as you may know it. And Brian and I were both very intrigued when we saw this one on the Walters website, just because the foliage is so dark and striking. And the blooms, as you can see, they open up to like a creamy yellow, but then they kind of age to a blush color, which makes a really cool ombre effect. And sedum is another set it and forget it plant, which we love here in the South, because the less time I have to be outside watering stuff, the happier that I am. So this, you will put it in the ground, does not like too much water, does not like fertilizer, so we will not be putting biotone in the ground with this today. Same thing as the Russian sage, it will flop over on you if it gets too much fertilizer or too much water. We like to leave our sedums up in the winter, so they form their bloom stalks late summer, and then going into fall they'll still be holding on to the blooms. But as you go into winter, if you leave the bloom stalks up, it's actually really good food for birds during the winter. It gives them somewhere to perch too. In the spring, you'll see the new growth kind of emerging out from the ground, and you'll just cut it back to the new growth, and then it will come up all the way from the ground in one season. And they just kind of get bigger and bigger every year. I'm going to set this down, it's kind of heavy. This one is going to be big. So it gets about 3 feet wide. And on the Walters website, it says that you can even substitute this for shrubs in the landscape. So we're going to be putting this right behind the Salvia. It's going to be just a little bit taller than the Salvia in the end, so we'll get some nice layered effect, which is what we're going for, and then we'll have the Russian sage in the very back, which will be the tallest plant that we're planting today. Okay, so that is my crash course on these perennials for today. We're going to get started with digging out the Baptisia and digging out the oak leaves and switching those things around, and then we'll be able to get these plants into the ground. So let's get started.
All right, guys, so we've got everything in the ground and it's looking so beautiful so far. The layering is exactly what we wanted it to be, and I thought I'd give you a look. All right, so looking from this angle, you can see the layer of Salvia here in the front, and then we've got the Sedum and then the Russian sage back in the back, and it's just so pretty. I think this is really gonna help with the layers, and it's gonna do exactly what we wanted it to do, because you can see we've got the milkweed there that gets really tall. Hopefully that'll come back and bloom for us next year and give the monarch something to eat on. We've got the Russian sage, it'll probably come to about here next year. And then the Sedum says 2 to 3 feet wide, which obviously is planted a little bit close for that. But I think that it'll all sort of mound together next year and become this really dark, luscious sort of like pack of Sedum. It'd be really pretty. And then again with the Salvia down in the front, that'll be a big mass next year too. And I think this is just so much better without the Baptisia there. You can really see from this angle, you can see the shed beautifully, and it's just all starting to come together.
Oh my goodness, I know we say this every time, but man, is the humidity bad here in the South right now.
Yes.
We are so sweaty. It is not fun gardening this time of year, which is why we try to do it in the evenings, but it is still hot out here.
I'm drenched.
And we're gonna water these plants pretty deeply off camera. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit to do just because it is so hot and we haven't gotten any rain in quite a few days now.
Yeah.
So if you're planting this time of year, or if you're transplanting like we did, make sure that you're giving your plants a good deep drink of water.
Yep.
So that they make it through this heat, because it is tough on them, especially the plants that like a lot of water.
Yeah. All right, guys, well, we hope you loved this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.